in this video, we want to talk to you a little bit about trauma healing in relationships, because everyone has trauma, and being able to expose that trauma to your partner in a relationship can be very profound for personal growth and healing. And
I think a lot of people hold the misconception that you have to be healed from this trauma prior to entering into a relationship. I know I had that belief for a long time, and that's why I was single.
Yeah, it's something that you might hear along the lines of like, hey, I need to be single, I'm trying to work on myself, things along those lines.
And that can cause a lot more damage in the long run, because you hold this idea that you have to hide your flaws or whatever. I don't like to call them flaws, but that's how other people will identify.
Well, that's often how trauma is perceived by the person who has the trauma. Is if you have trauma, you see that
like
trauma
it's an
as
inadequacy.
And you feel like you have to polish yourself to be a perfect diamond before you can put yourself on the market. And that's not true. All that's going to do is prolong you being able to find someone that is probably best for you. Because ideally, I would say that the person you want to be with isn't someone who's looking for the perfect diamond, but someone who loves whatever diamond you're putting forward, flaws and all. Or, self-perceived flaws and everything.
Yeah, and it delays the healing, and it causes a lot of shame around, like, your trauma or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't start really healing until we entered into a relationship from my past.
Yeah, and part of it for a lot of people that are having trouble thinking of what their trauma is, because a lot of people aren't aware. I wasn't aware of my own trauma for a very long time. Being in a relationship can help you realize. It can help expose it, because trauma, childhood trauma, is almost always a result of relationships you had when you were a child and how those played out. And so you need to be in another relationship with someone that you care about for it to expose itself again.
Yeah, because if you're by yourself all the time, you see you don't see. I like to refer to our partners or whatever as mirrors, because they mirror back what our flaws are. We see them. Like when we're in arguments and we say something completely ridiculous, we're like, wow. But would you say that if you were single? No.
Yeah.
So you can't really evolve unless you have, and it doesn't need to be like an intimate relationship. It could be a very close friend too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think you said that beautifully. God, I don't really know where to go from here. I guess the point that I personally wanted to make with this video is just to really put it on your radar that a couple things. You have trauma. Everyone does. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, because that's an absolute statement, but 99.99% people have trauma. You might not be aware of what that trauma is, but maybe you are. That trauma most often comes out in a relationship. And so putting yourself in a relationship is going to be your best bet for identifying the trauma and resolving it.
Yeah, you have to have a level of awareness to identify what your trauma is. Like when arguments are the best way to bring your trauma out, because that brings our dirtiest habits out, or when we get scared, fearful, that's when things come out and expose themselves. And so you have to be aware, and you have to be watch. That's what I do. When I say something, I'm like, wow. I'll stop after I say something and say, wow, that was because of this. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's just because anger and fear kind of bring out, they pretty much just shut down rational thought. And so they bring out those unconscious
thought patterns,
currents that influence your behaviors and your thoughts.
Yeah, and we can't access those unless we're in those states usually.
Yeah. And
then, I think acceptance of vulnerabilities, everyone has them. You're never going to find a partner that does not have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, and that was the fourth and final point I wanted to make, is that you want to put yourself out on the market, so to speak, when you have been working on your trauma, before you've completed working on it, because you want to find someone that's going to accept you no matter what. And that includes your
work
trauma.
Towards a higher goal with you. That's what it is. We all want to evolve into a higher self. That's the goal of life.
Yeah.
It's not money. It's evolving into a higher self.
And I think most people listening to this can really probably appreciate the value of whether you're experiencing it right now or you're just doing a thought experiment. Wouldn't you like to have someone that not only accepts you and wants to help you get better, but is also self-aware enough to say, and these are also my traumas, and I need your help to overcome them. Yeah. And so then you can work with them, just like a partner should. I mean, you're a team.
Yeah.
So, don't...
I have a blog post that I'll link in this too,
okay,
on the subject that I wrote a while ago.
Yeah. So don't stay single just because you think you need to work on yourself. It can have benefits. It can. Especially if you just realized you had trauma and it came about because of a bad relationship you were in. Yeah. I mean, being single definitely has its benefits, but the goal of being single is not to make yourself perfect. Exactly. It's just to give you some time to collect your thoughts and realize what it is exactly you want to achieve in a relationship, and then go out and find someone. Okay. Well, if you like this content, then great. That's what we're trying to do. And if you know someone who you think this content would benefit, then please share our video with them.
Bye.
Thanks.